Good morning, everybody. We are back. It is the right side of campus. We are live here on a Monday, September 27, 2018. I'm your host, the big man on campus. We're wrapping up week 3 college football, week 2 NFL. Got one more game tonight. Seahawks and Bears. Donnie Rudson, how you doing?
Doing good. Monday morning, we'll have some fun here on the show. Huge card to wrap up yesterday. Some do's and don'ts in gambling, some teams that surprised, some teams that didn't surprise at all. But now after week 2, we know what's what in the NFL. Nothing should surprise us the rest of the way. I think the teams have showed their stripes out there. We'll have some fun taking a look at it. College football Saturday, huge card we could take a look at. Monday, Jeff, always busy here on the networks here at sportsbookreview.com.
Yep, lot to do. We'll get into that and more. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed whatever you did, whether it was winning money, losing money. Again, there's always another chance to win money this week. So we'll take a look at how we can do that here over the next hour and over the next week here on the show. Hit the like button, please. Do that. That's always something we need you to do. Hit the like button, show support to the show. Also, if you're on Twitter, retweet the show. Get it out to your followers. Maybe they'll enjoy it as well. So make sure you do that. Already some people in here. Welcome in to Reggie, Von Polo, James, Billy, Troy, Crazy Rocker, Brian. Welcome in. Thanks for listening. Let's get into some highlights here. Donnie, we started out with some boxing. Triple G, Canelo Alvarez, Saturday night in Vegas. I know, Donnie, you're not a big boxing guy. I watched this fight. Listen, people need to understand boxing's not 4 rounds. It's 12. Canelo Alvarez won this fight. He dominated rounds 8 through 12. There were some times where Triple G looked good in certain rounds. But, again, the rounds are close. To me, I had Canelo winning those rounds that maybe others didn't. I thought Canelo dominated this fight for the most part. Towards the end, Triple G definitely got probably the last few rounds. But to me, people act like it was a robbery. You see this a lot in boxing. People watch these big fights, and they have a preconceived notion that the fight's fixed already, and they have a vendetta against the sport. But overall, Donnie, the fight, if you watch it from 1 through 12, Canelo Alvarez won. He was the better fighter overall. I could see a reason where maybe it was a draw. It was a pretty, at least close over the last 7 to 12 rounds. But to me, Canelo Alvarez won the fight. I had it, I think, 7-5. Canelo won. I don't see the robbing or whatever people were talking about.
No, I hear you. And look, I'll preface this fight by saying when the first fight, Triple G absolutely annihilated Canelo and didn't get the decision. So for the second fight, I didn't want to watch it at all because I already knew, if you're going to be judged in the way boxing is and it's about money and setting up rematches and promoting the bigger stars, I understand that boxing is probably the most corrupt sport on the planet. But I do got to commend you, Jeff, for having Alvarez as the winner because I think, which is good because I love your opinion. Usually it's contrary to what the public has. You were the only one I saw on Twitter that actually said Alvarez won that fight. The majority, again, said Triple G was robbed in this fight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will say that. I think a lot of people didn't. They let the last few rounds sway their opinion. I score the fight, Donnie, round to round. Okay, I don't just pick a winner at the end. I go 10-9 every round, and I score the fight. And Dan Raphael, by the way, a boxing writer, I believe he had Canelo Alvarez winning. I know there might not have been people that had him winning, but listen, boxing is a round-to-round thing, and Triple G didn't knock Canelo down. There wasn't a 10-8 round. There wasn't points lost. People need to understand when you add that goes throughout the whole fight. It doesn't go through 5 or 6 rounds. It goes through 12. I had him winning the fight at the end. Or actually, you know what? I think I had a draw at the end. I want to say I got to remember it was something wrong. I had Canelo close, but I think I might have gave him the last round or two to Triple G. But overall, I thought overall he won the fight. But people didn't. A lot of people thought it was a rob. It wasn't a robbery. Even if Canelo did win, to a lot of people act like he was robbed. Triple G. It wasn't robbed. It wasn't 117, 112. I could see where judges thought Canelo won. Truth of the matter. And Donnie, you look at the chat. Not many people care about this fight. I don't see one person.
The whole point. I love it, and they're exactly right, Jeff. Because look, I'm I'm the casual fan in boxing, Jeff. You know me. Big fight, I'm going to be there. I was really excited for Triple G Canelo the first time around because it was two really good fighters. They were going to mash it out. Sat there watching with all my buddies. We laughed at the end like, damn, man, Triple G, one of the best of all time, man, just destroyed Canelo. And he got the draw in that fight. And for this second fight, and they put it on at an awful time in the middle of September, college football is raring to go. The NFL just opens up. And nobody was even talking about this fight whatsoever, and rightfully so. There was no need for a rematch in this one, and I'm actually glad that there was even more controversy during the second fight that there was in the first fight, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, people are sick of certain things in boxing, and look, I always enjoy the sport. I always like watching it. It's just something that I've always liked. But I guess I understand certain people's contempt with it. But as always, we always want to touch on the headlines here on the show. Barry, Eric, Joey, Greg, thanks, man. Scott, Devin, Chris, everyone, welcome in. Michael, Donnie, little NFL news. Obviously, right now, football is king. Josh Gordon, has he been released? Josh Gordon, according to sources, will be released today by the Cleveland Browns. Look, Donnie, we talked about Josh Gordon when he was going to come back, and we mentioned that. Look, at the end of the day, I feel at some point you gotta cut the cord loose with this guy. I mean, you've given him chance after chance. He obviously has some problems off the field. It's been a charade back and forth. He's coming back, then he's going to be back. It's always back and forth. Nothing ever seems to get hashed out with this guy. I think maybe he. I mean, how many times can you take, away from football before you say, you know what, maybe I'm not right to be in this league? I'm sure people will go and sign him. I don't know. It's just a weird situation with this guy. There's always something wrong. He never fulfills his promises that he makes. And I get Cleveland wanting to cut it loose. I don't really understand, a month ago how they were all, we love Josh, he's our guy, blah, 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 blah. What do you think here?
No, I mean, my stance on the whole Josh Gordon thing. They've had him for 5 years. He's had multiple chances. You can't trust him. You're trying to build a foundation. You have a coach that wins 1 out of every 100 NFL football games, and you hang on to a guy that can't be trusted. Here's my favorite thing about the NFL, Jeff, which you could put in a capsule. So you're leading me to believe that Josh Gordon showed up Saturday and injured his hamstring at a photo shoot. I don't know what the photo shoot was. Maybe it was a 3-hour pickup basketball game or a 3-hour actual football game in the streets of Cleveland. But I have a house to sell you, Jeff, on the ocean in the middle of Oklahoma, if you believe the story that they're going to cut him, release him, or trade him because he injured his hamstring as he came in on Saturday and told the team that. It was obvious if you read between the tea leaves, Josh Gordon had a relapse and showed up probably drunk and or high at the facility Saturday, and they completely shut it down. Because what makes more sense here? A lot of teams called on Josh Gordon, 8th and 19th. They called on him because he has an injured hamstring now, and he can't be trusted at the same time. And the Cleveland Browns are saying, we're not going to trade him to an AFC opponent. We would like to trade him to the NFC. What does this guy even offer? He didn't hurt his hamstring. He had a major relapse.
I got to tell you, I'm sick of hearing how all these other teams are interested in this guy. For what?
Exactly.
He doesn't play. What do you think? Just because he goes to another team, he's going to play automatically? Listen, all we hear about is how good this guy is, but he never fucking plays. What are you going to waste your money and what are you going to waste your due diligence on here? This guy doesn't play. So if he goes to the 49ers or he goes to, wherever, he still has a problem. I think people think in the NFL that problem's just going to stop because he goes to another team. He has a drug problem. It's not going to.
No, I can't and the Browns have said multiple times over the past 5 years, they're done with him. They're going to release him. They put out a statement Saturday. We will release him Monday. Why didn't you release him on Saturday? The minute he showed up drunk, high, injured, whatever it was, why didn't you cut him on the spot, take his playbook, and send him out the door in an Uber? But now you're going to hang on. We're going to release him Monday. Work comes out. Well, maybe we'll trade him. You know what? It doesn't surprise you, Jeff, on Thursday night, Josh Gordon's a starting wide receiver against the New York Jets at home for Cleveland. Nothing surprises me by this 100% inept organization.
Rumors are that Browns restricted a deal wide receiver for legit compensation. Listen, if you're an NFL team and you give up anything for Josh Gordon, your GM should be fired immediately. Because he doesn't offer anything right now. It's always what Josh Gordon might be. You know how many people I've heard they might be this, they might be that, then they never fucking be it. It's very sad. And I will always have compassion for someone.
And and you know what I also like too, Jeff, is the whole back emo story of the Cleveland Browns, of how much they care about Josh Gordon and his family. How many times, Jeff, do we go on this show and I multiple times said, you know what, if you cared about Josh Gordon, you'd IR him for the year and pay him his full salary, send him to rehab and get his life right. Because maybe it could be a good turnaround story. Like, hey, look, I couldn't deal with football, but the Browns are my family. They took care of me. I had mental illness. I had addiction issues. They worked through, and now look at me on the opposite side here. You can make it through these dark times. But all the Cleveland Browns did is hold that carrot in front of his nose. Come on back, Josh. Come on back. You want to play this weekend? We'll let you play. Doesn't matter. Just don't drink any beers or smoke any weed. Come on, come back. You should have IR'd him if you really cared about his life. But they don't. He's a piece of meat to the Cleveland Browns, and he'll do it again to another football team.
I guess I just don't know how long you put up with this. I mean, this is a guy that has issues. This isn't the first time. This is the second time. This is like the fifth or sixth time Josh Gordon has went to and had issues. You know what they do with these people in the streets, Donnie? You know what they do? They kick them out and say, then fulfill your life. You leave your family members that act like this. You don't keep. That's just how the truth is, man. At the end of the day, addicts go unkept. They just do. Until they want to fix themselves, we as a public don't care about them. And that's a shame. I get it. But it's true. This guy can't keep getting these chances. Go make something happen with your life, bro.
Yeah.
Stop fulfilling him with more money and bullshit support. You don't care about him. And he obviously doesn't care about himself. He'd rather get high and stuff like that and play football. It just stop making this crap up that, oh, he's a freak athlete. We get he probably is, but he's not doing anything about it. So again, go and put money into this guy. I heard people want to bring him to the Eagles. Stop with that. Stop. You shouldn't want this guy on your team. He should not be around teammates right now.
Yeah. No, I think we nailed that topic as always, but he'll be traded today, and we'll have some more fun talking about Josh Gordon next week, and we'll hear about his new team that has an awesome supporting cast around to help him and how much they really care about Josh Gordon. Then they'll dip that carrot in front of his nose. Hey, Josh, want to play this weekend? Want to play next weekend? Time and time again, Jeff. Why don't we move on to another interesting story?
Hey, Donnie,
get out of the Josh Gordon relevant. What's up?
Anthony Sarro, he was shooting a video with a drone.
Yeah, believe that if you want. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, shooting a video with a drone. There was probably a marijuana, stick hanging down from the drone, and he was trying to jump up and catch it and pulled his hamstring there. So let's move on here. We'll talk a little bit more football, Jeff. Retirements at halftime. Is that how bad it is in Buffalo, Jeff, where you don't even want to get your paycheck? You don't want to finish the game. You want nothing to do with Buffalo? Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills right now, having players retire at halftime because they just don't feel it anymore, Jeff. How about this one?
Yeah, listen, this is a weird story. I don't know it. I don't think any of us know a ton about this and why it happened. Vontae Davis is a guy. His brother's in the league, Vernon Davis. This is a guy that's been a mainstay. Everyone knows Vontae Davis. And then at halftime, he just decides that he abruptly doesn't want to play football anymore and leaves. I've never seen anything like this in any sport. You see it maybe when you're a kid, playing Little League or something. But, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I guess he released, an official statement today about this. We'll read a little bit of that. This isn't how I picture retiring from the NFL. That's not a surprise. But in my 10th NFL season, I've been doing what my body's been programmed to do. Get ready to play games. I've endured surgeries, blah, 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 blah. But today on the field, reality hit me fast and hard. I shouldn't be out there anymore. I meant no disrespect to my teammates, but I had to hold myself to a higher standard. So why not just go over to coach and say, listen, coach, I'm not feeling well or something. I really can't be out there. Might suck, initially. And then after the game, do this. Did you really have to do it at halftime? What do you mean you weren't trying to, disrespect your teammates and coaches? What do you mean? You quit.
Yeah, and the Bills are going to be able to go after a signing bonus, get that all, and also make him pay back whatever salary he's already earned here by doing that move. And hey, Vontae Davis made a lot of money in the NFL, so maybe he's right. But there is something about just like finishing stuff off and being a man about it. Would there have been any problem, Jeff, if he goes in? Let's just say he went into the halftime, talked to the coaches. I'm just not right today, coach. I don't think I can help the team in the second half. Get so-and-so ready. I'm going to put my street clothes on, but I'm going to be out there. You know what I mean? I'm going to come out for the second half. I'll be on the sidelines. I'll try to help them out as well as I can, but I'm not going to be able to help this football team in the second half. Wouldn't you have a little bit different MO about Vontae Davis, that maybe after the game he said, you know what? I just don't have the passion for it anymore. At halftime, I realized it, threw on my street clothes, came back out. But he did one of those punk moves, right, Jeff? I'm out. Peace. Yo, you're never going to see me again. Got my clothes on and bounced from the stadium, then tried to put out a statement. There's something about finishing off the job because, look, you don't want to be in harm's way, right? If you're not feeling it out there, you can actually get hurt on the football field if you're not giving it your all. But there's nothing wrong with telling the coaches, look, I'm just not myself. Put so-and-so in the game. I'll stick around and, maybe we can have a meeting after the game and talk this through, but I don't think I can help the football team. I'm not in the right state of mind. Some people deal. They remember Brandon Brooks in Philadelphia, Jeff? There would be some game days 2 years ago where Brandon Brooks couldn't even show up because he had a mental illness and was trying to work through it there instead of going out and playing the football game and quitting in the first quarter or something like that. So it's an interesting circumstance, but he took the punk way move out, man. Just bouncing at halftime on your teammates. That's just a punk move.
I mean, just say you have your knee hurts or something. I mean, and you can't play in the second half. Like you said, go after the game, go to the coach. I know this is weird, coach, but I just don't, or today do it. Did you really have to just leave your team in the middle of a game? Very odd. Very odd, sir. I've never seen that before. I don't have nothing to say about Vontae, so I'll give him a little bit more respect than he showed it today. As far as quitting on us, never seen that. No, I haven't either. If you're a Bills fan, you got to wonder, I mean, what is going on at Orchard Park? What is going on up there?
Very. You had to see it. You had to see it coming too. Either his play was just really dipping, or he had to be just lax in meetings and practice. Because it's kind of interesting. Because most of the time, athletes are wired for games, right, Jeff? Once that football kicks off, the complete outside world is isolated and shut off to you, and you're out there to do your job, and you get lost in the moment. And usually, the games, Jeff, are what's fun and what these players live for. But I guess he just threw in the white towel in the first half and said, I'm just going to retire and bat. But it's just, there's certain ways to go about doing that stuff. But I'm hard pressed to know that the Bills didn't see this coming, because you don't give it your all summer long and then through the first game. And then all of a sudden in the next game, you say, I'm bouncing on this team. There had to be some warning signs out that he was just disconnected at this point.
He quit. Don't talk about his bullshit tape. I'm just reading what he put out, man. That's from him correctly.
Yeah, that was his agent putting that out there to try to put a spin on it. Yeah, but Bills will go after. I mean, I think he had like a $1.5 or $2 million signing bonus. They'll make him pay that back, and then whatever salary he earned through the summer playing in the preseason games or what little that was in game one, they'll take his game 1 and game 2 checks also.
NFL Sunday, Browns lose again. They find a way to ruin. I'm just kind of tired of talking about the Browns, frankly. I mean, how many fucking times are we going to talk about this inept team? I'm sick of hearing about them. They lose again yesterday. Bad kicker. You try to come up with ways that they're going to lose, and you never seem to find to have a new one. It's always something similar to usual. They lose, and Donnie, they're now 1-33 in their last 34.
Yeah, no, don't forget the tie in there, Jeff. You're trying to shortchange him a little bit on that. But no, it was just it's a game that you should have won. Going into the game, I didn't think they had any chance to win this football game. Tyrod Taylor throws a dime late in the game to take the lead. But it all comes down to, Jeff, when you're used to winning football games and when you have no idea how to coach in these football games. Look, Drew Brees is going to eventually wake up. He wakes up on the last drive, they score points, but then comes in the last drive of the football game, Jeff. And tell me for this, your kicker already somewhat struggling. It's not a great kicker. There's 8 seconds left on the clock. You can A, take another shot at the end zone, which I didn't recommend, or B, do what everybody does in that situation, Jeff. The New Orleans Saints are going to play a little bit softer coverage. You have a mobile quarterback. Roll him out of the pocket, stick that 5-yard out route to get your kicker a little bit close. But what does Hugh Jackson do, Jeff? Sends his kicker out with 8 seconds to go for a much longer field goal than it should have been. You had 1 or possibly even 2 more plays to throw out routes to get your squad another 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 yards closer to kick that field goal. Hugh Jackson, again, is not used to winning. He can't coach people to win. When it comes down to crunch time, the Cleveland Browns will fold every single time, especially against a better football team. And it happened again. Hugh Jackson on full display on that last drive, Jeff.
Hugh Jackson should have retired at halftime. That's a good comment. He should have retired instead of Vontae Davis. Did you see the college baseball player named Zane Gonzalez was getting harassed? Listen. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, and this is a little rant I'm going to go on. I'm beyond sick of the internet, man. It's just a sad, sick place. I mean, we need to go back to the days where there was no internet. It would be way better, wouldn't it, Donnie? I mean, it would be.
What life would you have if there was no internet? We couldn't get on
I
film.
couldn't.
No way. Stop it. I know the real big man on campus. You love Twitter.
No,
and you love
I go on the
Periscope,
internet because
you love YouTube. Yes.
No, it's a business for me. That's it. I'm beaten down. I'm sick of the internet. I don't like it. I do it because it's a business. That's it. It's not even because of me. I'm just sick of the things you see on the internet. It's a shame. It's sad. Stuff like that. I mean, you're not even. It's not even the right person. You're just railing on the kid. You don't even know. Like I saw people people die and they're putting like, good. I'm glad he. It's just a sad place, man. Really sad, sad place. The internet rules the world now. Yeah, Mahomes is legit. Well, I mean, Mahomes is playing well. 10 touchdowns over 2 games. I.e., though, he was playing the Steelers and the Chargers, 2 bad defenses. Let's let him play some real defense, Donnie, right side.
No, come on. You got to give him a little love, though. There were 2 road games, too. It's hard to win in Pittsburgh. I like Andy Reid. I mean, this is Andy Reid's MO. Let me see Mahomes again after like 5 or 6 games when Andy Reid runs out of like plays on the chart that people have seen. Andy Reid's a great game planner, man. You can see this offense is moving. It's very creative. You have a quarterback that's mobile, that's not afraid to take shots. You got some weapons that are working out there. I'm pretty impressed with the Kansas City Chiefs right now and Patrick Mahomes, but let's see him as the season goes on because that Andy Reid MO usually catches up. But boy, what a great start for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. 2-0 in front of that division there. It should be a fun season the rest of the way. They're going to get to Arrowhead for his first game, but for the young kid there to go on the road the first 2 games to pick up wins against good opponents, that's pretty nice.
2 bad defenses, Donnie, and he's got to face a real defense here first. Then we'll give him credit. No, I'm kidding. He was very good. 10 touchdowns. Yeah. He continues to prove me wrong. Yeah. Look, can't be right always, I guess. Patrick Mahomes has been very good. Give him the love. Falcons get the job done. They cover against the Carolina Panthers. It wasn't easy, Donnie, but I get the chicken here in this one. Came down to the last play of the game. Carolina really wouldn't go away. I mean, Atlanta controlled this game, but every time Atlanta would go up 14, Carolina would answer with a touchdown. Yet you're worried about Atlanta's secondary. Keanu already out. KZ ejected for a bad hit on the quarterback. This was an uneasy one, but Falcons pulled out. Big home win for the Dirty Birds.
No, it was a really nice game. I mean, you started out early. I think the Atlanta Falcons went down 10-3 early, but you saw, Atlanta come back there. Their offense, again, a little bit better than the Carolina offense. But it's funny, Jeff, when you look at, you can correlate a lot of the NFL to the NBA, right? Because one team usually at the end of the football game is looking more for first downs and running the clock as opposed to what they were doing for the first 3 quarters. And we were going back and forth because I know you were on Atlanta yesterday, the -6, which, again, I agree with. I love the play, and it looked like it was the right one. They get 2 touchdown lead. And then the fourth quarter comes, and you watch some of these games because you saw the big interception by Atlanta. What, Jeff? Maybe 5.5, 6 minutes to go. So you're saying Atlanta, like pick up maybe 1 first down. If you get 2, you could probably just end the game with a field goal right there. But they're forced to punt. And then you're saying, okay, it's 2 touchdowns, and there's 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock. Carolina's got to go 90 yards. Zip, zap, zoop, 51-yard touchdown, 2:10 in the game. And then you're saying to yourself in this game, right, Jeff? Look, Atlanta, get the football back, get 1 first down. This game's going to be over. And of course, it comes down to a 3rd and 1, which Tevin Coleman has been running wild all game long. And of course, he doesn't even get a yard on 3rd and 1. You're forced to punt. And you have a game that comes right down to the wire, down to the 25-yard line. Did get a false start back to the 30, but they were able to knock it down. And the guy, from all intents and purposes, looking through a TV screen, looked like he caught that football in the end zone, but it was thrown away, and Atlanta ends up winning. But, man, there's a lot of correlation between the NBA and NFL, Jeff. It just seems like you're never out of the football game because one team stops their overall offense with about 6 or 7 minutes to go, and the other team presses. It's wild, man. But nice. I think
one thing you're learning about the Atlanta Falcons they just don't play. They don't not play close games. I mean, every game's close with this group. No matter who they play, it always comes down to the final play or the final drive. Atlanta has trouble with kind of rolling teams. It's not something they normally do. But you're right. I mean, in the NFL, it's tough. I mean, there's always a game, always somehow. I mean, even look at yesterday with the Bills. I mean, they were down 28-6. They come back, try to make it a game. It's never easy in the NFL, as they say. We keep it going here. Fitzpatrick, yep, very good yesterday. Fitzpatrick, he did in a bad team defensively right now, a team that needs to get going. But this was kind of the thought with Fitzpatrick. I mean, was it a mirage the first week? Was that just he was killing it one week and those things happen once in a while? He is a backup quarterback, but I think he's showing Donnie that he's not just a backup. He should be the starter of this team. He's taking over the NFL right now. Other than Mahomes, he's probably been the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and let's look on deck, Jeff. You know who he's got on deck? You know what defense he's got on deck at home? Pittsburgh Steelers coming to town. He's going to throw for another 400 yards on Monday night, and we're all going to get a kick out of what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing. A lot of people, I'm not even going to get into the diatribe over the summer about who had Tampa Bay or whatever, but if you look at them man-to-man, Jeff, here's what we missed last year. Me and Jeff were high on Tampa Bay last year because we looked at what they possibly could be on offense. Switch up a couple things on offense. Yeah. You get Fitzpatrick in there. You have weapons at every – what do you need? Maybe the best deep threat in football, Deshaun Jackson, check mark on one side. You have another possession-type receiver in Godwin. He's fine. Then on the other side, you have the ultimate weapon in Mike Evans. You have a tight end who can make plays and run with the football, unlike Zach Ertz, who I do love. And then you have also a quarterback that's willing to take risks out there, and a little smurf that you need on every team, right? The little smurf Humphreys that can get in and out of breaks and is a nice third down option. They have so many weapons on offense. They're going to damage a lot of football teams this year.
No, this is what I hope they would be last year. I mean, this up-tempo, crazy offense that scores a lot of points. It's interesting. And look, let's be honest. I'm sick of the crap yesterday after the game. Okay, Guidos everywhere were disrespected by that little rant by Fitzpatrick. What was he trying to pull off there, Donnie? Is he trying to show us up a little bit? I dress like that every day.
Funny. Yeah, I know. He's one of those dudes, Harvard guy, bounced around the league. He's just having his fun, man. There was no disrespect to me. What he was looking to do. I got a couple laughs out of that. I thought you were a little bit of sarcasm coming in there, but I didn't see anybody get upset about it, to be honest. It looked like Conor McGregor up there. I was getting a couple chuckles.
Smart guy. I mean, I think he went to Harvard, Fitzpatrick, a smart guy. He was terrific. And look, I think he's going to win that. Well, I think he will win that job. Terrific stuff you're seeing out of Fitzpatrick. An interesting game here, Donnie. Jags, Patriots.
Yeah.
Jags took it to the Patriots. Was wrong on this one. Tom Brady didn't look himself this day. The Patriots didn't look themselves. Jags hit them in the mouth from snap one. No Leonard Fournette, no problem. Jags roll the Patriots.
Yeah, bad defense by the Patriots, Jeff. You know me. I love the under in this one. At a great pace. At an unbelievable pace for an under, Jeff. We're having 8.5-minute, 9-minute scoring drives that are ending up in field goals. But again, in the NFL, boy, it's hard. 44, 45 and a half, whatever you got it at. Still hanging on. But it looked like the Patriots just quit in the fourth quarter in this football game. And also, can you take aside what we talked about, Jeff, all during the week? Like if you're looking at just the side in this football game, go to Tampa Bay last year, squeak out a win. Always struggling down in South Florida when they played Miami, 1-4 in the last 5. It was like they didn't even show up. That game was almost beat down from the beginning. And the worst part about it wasn't so much that you thought like Tom Brady and the Patriots were able to move the football in that tough Jacksonville defense. It was Blake Bortles being aggressive in the first half, but the Patriots having absolutely no answer for anything they did. Every time they dropped back the pass. I mean, what was Blake Bortles, like 8 of 8 for his first 8 third down conversions? It was outrageous. Either he was running, scrambling, or completing balls. And then the game got a little bit out of reach because you saw 24-3. The Jags had the football and still stayed aggressive. Turnover on the fumble. Very next series, turnover on the interception. They got to clean that up a little because a lot of times it's time, space, and score that you have. You should have took the air out of the football because at all intents and purposes, Jeff, New England was out of that football game at 24-3. If you would have just taken a knee the rest of the way and punted, I don't think Tom Brady wanted any smoke. But you gave him that little window. But then again, Dante Fowler comes off the edge, Jeff, strip sack on Tom Brady, effectively ended the football game right there. But I like the under. It was a great pace. I was wrong. It didn't come in.
It was a bad beat. Tough beat on the under there. Not for nothing. Giants and Arizona struggle offensively as Arizona shut out against the Rams. Look, this one kind of stuck out. I mean, the Cardinals are a bad team. Rams are a very good team. Cardinals just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I think it's time to move to Josh Rosen. I mean, at this point, I mean, Sam Bradford really has no business starting in this league right now. This one was an ugly one. I mean, especially if you had the over, 34 points by one team. Generally, you should go over 43.5. Rams roll here. Arizona has issues, Donnie, offensively. So do the Giants. They struggle against the Cowboys. Really only get, I think the last touchdown was in garbage time. Was kind of trying to get back into the game. So, other than that, I think the score looks a lot better than it really was. Dallas controlled the Giants all night.
No, it was interesting. I checked out of that football game in the third quarter because the Giants were completely inept in that football game. But I wake up, Jeff, and like coming down the stretch, they actually had an onside kick and a chance to drive down for the, I guess, push, if you want to say, if it was +3, whatever you got. It's funny, no matter how bad a football team is, it seems like at the end of the game, there's always still a shot at that back door. They end up kicking a field goal with like 20 seconds to go to try another onside kick to see if they can, get it back and throw a Hail Mary. So at least the coaching decision was proper on that, where you had to get the field goal to leave a little bit of time. Most coaches would wind the clock all the way down, throw a touchdown pass with no time on the clock, and you lost anyway. But looking at that game, Jeff, there's two things. Fantasy football, if you have Saquon Barkley in a PPR league, congratulations. You're probably going to win your league because Eli doesn't have it anymore. Look, DeMarcus Lawrence is a very good pass rusher, but that Giants offensive line is absolutely atrocious. We thought they went out and tried to put some Band-Aids on things. Nate Solder's, go get Hernandez from UTEP, and I actually thought he was going to be a really good football player. He's still young, and I mean, the jury's still out there, but they're awful up front. And Eli doesn't have more than 2 seconds to get rid of the football. So how are you going to run a 7-step drop, Jeff, if you're the New York Giants? How are you going to get Odell Beckham the ball deep when that's what you want to do? It's check down Charlie out there. He can't defend himself. He can't get out of the way from a rush. And hey, it's only the Giants' fault there. I mean, you had a plan. You drafted Davis Webb. You chucked him. You had a chance sitting at the 2 spot to go out and get your future quarterback. You didn't do it. They're 0-2. So basically, all of the infected purposes, New York Giants are out of the playoff race at this point, since about 90% of the teams in football that start out 0-2 don't make it. They're not a really good football team right now. No explosion. Outside of Saquon Barkley dumping it off in the flat, they don't have anything.
No, offense is really bad. I mean, that's the interesting thing about the Giants. A lot of people talked about how great this offense is going to be this year. The problem is you don't have an offensive line. You win in this league in the trenches. We talked about that time and time again. They don't have a left side of that line. They just don't, or the right side, whatever it would be, whatever way you're looking at it. Flowers is no good. It's just a bad offensive line. And luckily you have Barkley to do a little bit. But other than that, you're right. I mean, Eli Manning just doesn't have a ton of time anymore. It's basically he stands there and just goes down because it's a sack. It's just a tough team right now to watch. A hard game to watch this. And I didn't watch much of it, but I was watching Twitter. I seen people. It looked like a tough game.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, Eli wanted no smoke in this, and I talked about it for years. It's like he hasn't been a good quarterback in a long time, and it's amazing they let it go on this long. I mean, he just looks like a fossil back there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe. I don't even know what you can actually change, Jeff, because if the Dallas Cowboys just bum rushing you like that, there's a lot of good front sevens out there. And let's look ahead, Jeff, 1 week. They're going down to Houston to play a Houston team that also is 0-2 fighting for the life. And if they get Jadeveon Clowney back with J.J. Watt, I don't know what you do. Like, maybe Eli's just, hey, I'm just shell-shocked back here and I can't be a quarterback and it's time to move on. But who do you move on to, Jeff?
Listen, I like Barkley. I thought he was a transcending running back. But, I mean, you have some weapons there. I mean, the problem that you have here, whether you took a quarterback or a running back, you still don't have an offensive line. I mean, again, you go out and address one side of the line. Well, team's smart enough to know we're just going to attack the other side. I mean, it's not difficult. You need obviously the full offensive line. Look at Dallas's offensive line now that you lose Frederick and maybe Ronald Leary and those guys that they've lost over this couple of years. They're not as potent. You have to have a full 5-player offensive line. It's not 2 players. It's 5. But we move on from the NFL. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Let's head over to college. Florida State. How about this? Florida State lose again, 30-7 to Syracuse up in the Dome. I don't think really any prognosticator expected a 3-0 start to the season for the Orange Udani. If they beat UConn on Saturday, they will go 4-0 for the first time since 1991. So you'd expect them to win there. Impressive start for Syracuse. Where do you go with Willie Taggart? This is a guy that seemingly has no idea what he's doing right now with this team. You kind of almost look at it and you chuckle a little bit because I think this is rock bottom. It clearly is rock bottom. How do you crawl your way out of this? This Florida State program has struggled the last few years, but it's been injuries. It's been stuff like that. It hasn't been necessarily poor play. Things have gone horribly wrong for this team, and I don't know that you have a leader on offense or defense to really get you out of it. This team is 130th, Donnie, out of 130 teams in scoring against FBS opposition. Okay, I mean, and again, you're playing a defense in Syracuse that gave up a lot of yards to Western Michigan in week 1. This isn't a good defense. You're not playing Clemson or Miami. This was Syracuse. It's a stunning start, especially with the recruiting classes you bring in. I don't know where they go from here because I don't know that they have a leader leading this team.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about this too, when you look at Willie Taggart, look, I understand. Look, he was at some startup jobs, I like to say. So his record is going to be under 500. But that rapid ascension, I thought he should have stayed in Oregon, established himself, get a couple years in, and then you could have moved on to a top flight program. You know what the interesting thing that you take a look at, Jeff? When you look at those top 10 football teams, when you look at the teams that win national titles, it's not really a smoke and mirrors type offense. It's not super hurry up. It's not like Chip Kelly out there who's trying to resurrect something at UCLA, which isn't working right now. You're at Florida State. Usually when you get to one of those programs, let's just take UCF, right? UCF had a wonderful year last year, played lower competition. Auburn didn't give a shit in the bowl game, they ended up beating them, and they call themselves national champions. But that's the type of school where you run a little bit of a really fast tempo and you out-athlete the other team. But, Jeff, when you're at Florida State, you don't have to out-athlete anybody, right? You should already have the better athletes on the field. Why not run an RPO type offense? You don't have to rush it up there. You should have better running backs than everybody. You should have better wideouts than everybody. You should have a better quarterback than 9 out of every 10 teams that you face out there. When you're at schools like Florida State and the Alabamas of the world, you don't need smoke and mirrors to beat the other football team. You should be able to schematically X and O knock the other team around. And it looks like Willie Taggart's just saying, we're just going to go 100 miles an hour and see what happens out there. That's a bad look at Florida State. You can get away with that at some smaller schools, Western Kentucky, South Florida, because that's how you have to do it to try to go against the big boys, to try to, not outsmart them, but just out-trick them. You don't need that at Florida State. And I can't fathom why they can't score it. Like, you should be able to just hand the football off at Florida State to Cam Akers and move the ball up and down the field, run some play action, and beat guys deep. This is atrocious, man.
It's crazy to say, but it doesn't get any easier for Florida State. You're double-digit favorites on the road at Northern Illinois. Look, Rod Carey, always good as an underdog. You have a good defensive line up there with Sutton Smith. Look, how do you – and last year, Donnie, this team, I remember towards the end of the season, people were saying, how do you lay points right now at Florida State? You look at this game, I don't know how you lay points here either. This team I just don't think are very good, frankly. We move on off a weird game, a weird team there, Roll Tide. Listen, they're rolling. But Donnie, I think we have to pull back a little bit of our expectations about Alabama. We know they're very good. We get it. But they played Louisville, Arkansas State, Mississippi, 3 of the worst defenses in the country. Look, they're dominating. They played very well. I've been surprised at how good they've been defensively. Listen, I don't think anyone's going to beat Alabama until, I don't know, late in the season. I don't know why we keep acting like we're marveled about this. I mean, this is what they do. But again, they've really not played anyone good defensively. Like you said, they should be able to out-athlete teams. The fact that he held Mississippi, though, to 7 points is quite impressive, I have to say. I think Mississippi are a really good offense. Jordan Tamu and those guys, they're possibly the best 3 wide receivers in the country. It's impressive stuff, I have to say. But, we all know Alabama's good. I mean, and I got to tell you, Donnie, it's probably going to be the last time we mention them on the show until later in the season because there's no need to mention them. We get they're good. Let's play a real team and see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about the teams that are coming up because, I mean, you dust Louisville 51-14. Arkansas State, one of those little, hangers on, hey, we're going to be one of the better teams, more exciting teams in Power 5 and make some noise. You shell them by 50. You go on the road and shell Ole Miss 62-7. The worst case scenario for anybody that follows college football or plays against Alabama, usually Alabama has a quarterback that takes care of the football, doesn't make mistakes out there, moves the chains, gets the ball into his playmakers' hands for them to make plays. Now you have the pistol back there who can make plays himself. I don't see it stopping. They're not losing a game this football season. The Iron Bowl, Auburn, good luck with all that, sort of fun stuff. Clemson, people think they have some athletes to slow them down. This is the one year that's going to make it tough. Maybe Georgia can finally get after them, but they have everything you need at this point. They finally have a quarterback that can actually make plays by himself and dominate a game. which in the past, Alabama just relied on big running backs, big offensive line, and some dominant wide receivers. Now you have the complete package. It seems like in college football, quarterback, they're going to just destroy teams going down. I'm going to make a point right now, Jeff. I probably won't bet a single Alabama game this year because I'm not really into laying like 28 points every single game on the road in competition. But I'm not going against Alabama. They just eviscerate you.
BYU upset Wisconsin. How about that? You thought you maybe see one of these things. I'll tell you what, this BYU football team, pretty good. Squally Canada, great running back. They have a quality quarterback. And Donnie, this is what happens when you have a quality quarterback at BYU. They're a hard-nosed football team, always tough in the trenches. They beat up Wisconsin. They kind of beat Wisconsin at their own game. And Wisconsin couldn't really do much about it. You look at Mangum, though, 12 for 22. It wasn't unbelievable. They were able to run the ball. Defense was pretty good. You don't go in and beat Wisconsin like this very often, Donnie. Impressive stuff. 20-point underdogs. They come out to win. One of the biggest upsets of the weekend.
Yeah, a little bit lag here in Wisconsin, Jeff. I don't know. I guess you just can't lose all your wide receivers every single year and still think you can hand the football. Even though I think Taylor's maybe one of the most talented backs, if not the most talented back in the country, they just can't seem to get out of their way, and they don't have enough explosive plays. Wisconsin does to go because BYU. You figure, they're a strong team. Usually BYU has 28-year-olds playing compared to your 18-year-olds, so maybe that weighs into it a little bit. But getting back to Wisconsin itself, Jeff. Nothing explosive coming from the outside. And we know Wisconsin wants to run. So if you have a tough team that can sort of muddle it up in the middle of the field, you could slow down Wisconsin's offense was evident on Saturday.
BYU coming up, Donnie, thing to keep an eye on. You get a big win here. You go back home, you got to play McNeese State. Then you get Washington next week up at the up in
Husky Stadium.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. McNeese State. Keep your eye on this one. McNeese State are a good football team. Top 13 probably in the FCS. If you're getting a lot of points here, this could be a decent letdown spot for BYU. McNeese is a team that are generally a team that you got to look out for in the FCS, so keep your eye on that one. Could be an interesting spot if you're getting a good amount of points here to maybe take a shot with a letdown and a look-ahead game, a bit of a sandwich spot, very tough spot for Brigham Young here, Donnie, on Saturday, no matter who you're playing. This is a tough thing to do. Awful big win, back home, get to go on the road next week against a big-time opponent. Tough stuff. We keep it moving here. I wanted to bring this up, Donnie. South Dakota State. They win 90-6 over the weekend. South Dakota State, a perennial FCS power. They beat Arkansas Pine Bluff 90-6, but it was what happened after the game that was a bit more, bit more interesting, bit of a thought, and kind of had me thinking. South Dakota State coach, Donnie, John Stiegelmeier. John Stiegelmeier's been at South Dakota State for I don't know 30 plus years. I came in after the game. First thing he says, Donnie, up on the podium was, "I'm disappointed in how I managed the game. I should have slowed it down. I apologize to them and their coach. I could have been a better football coach tonight." I guess he referenced that he's disgusted with himself that he allowed the score to get so high. Keep in mind, every player on the roster played for South Dakota State. I watched the highlights. It was hard to watch. But I look at Stiegelmeier, and I'm reading an article about how John Stiegelmeier shouldn't have to apologize. And he's right. This article is correctly written. He shouldn't have to apologize. This shouldn't happen. It's a shame that these young kids are pimped out for the university to get money every year. This is unfair. This is unsafe. It shouldn't happen anymore. You're only hurting the student athletes. You're not helping them. This is hurting them. I don't understand why these things happen. 90-6, Donnie, pretty pathetic.
Yeah, no, it is pretty pathetic. But those schools can't stick to playing their own schools in a way because they wouldn't have any football programs that there is. No, you're right. There's something to be said about that as well. There's something to be said. But
yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up because you don't really see a coach kind of come out like that, and that's class right there. I guess you could say. It was just
maybe drop down to like a D2 level or a D3 level or something like that. But again, from a player's perspective, to me, like if I'm playing at one of those schools, the reason that I might want to even go to that school is sometimes like, oh man, we get to go on the road and play Nebraska or Florida State because it's a fun atmosphere to be in. I mean, you're completely outmanned in those situations. But a lot of those kids, if you ask them, would you rather play, Arkansas Pine Bluff East, or would you rather go play, some interesting schools and some fun territories, or would you rather go play like Oregon or something like that? Those kids would choose to play Oregon because it's just fun. It's fun to play in front of like 70,000 fans, even though you get bum rushed in those games.
North Texas. How about Arkansas, Donnie? This team really struggling, and they get crushed by North Texas. Chad Marsh really struggling. I mean, if it's not your Florida State, it's Arkansas. They're really struggling right now, this group. But Donnie, 44-17. I wanted to just bring up the fake fair catch.
It's great.
What a great play by that kid. I don't know. Is that something you designed before the play? I don't quite understand that. I just kind of think you just run with it. Brewer didn't go rogue, though, and tried on his own. According to the coach, Mean Green had been working on this trick since fall camp. How about that? What a play.
Yeah, no, it's kind of interesting because usually if you were going to try this play, Jeff, maybe it would be like on like a 60-yard punt that completely out-punted the coverage, and you're 15, 20, 30 yards away from like the nearest gunner, and you just stand there. And maybe the players would be like, you know what, he's not moving, so I guess he did it. He did this fairly close to players bearing down. So it was kind of interesting the way they pulled it off, but I'm sure, the fun makers of the NCAA will try to rework this and say there's going to be a competitive disadvantage and somebody can get hurt on this play. So I'm sure they'll outlaw, but creativity 101 for North Texas, 1-0, man. Congratulations. I loved it.
Marty Biaggi, the special teams coordinator, said that he didn't know what specifically led him to do the play, but he said they watched coverages at the beginning of every play and that Arkansas tended to how they finished their coverage. It was kind of laggy. Mm-hmm. It kind of just fell off. It worked. What a great play by that kid and by that organization. Football wrapping it up. Two more actually. Big win for Missouri. Big game. This was a good game on Saturday night. Missouri-Purdue. Missouri wins. They don't cover. Purdue hangs on. This was a back-and-forth game, Donnie. Drew Lock was terrific. What a great game it was. San Diego State also get a big home win against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Look, if you watch the game, it ended late. Arizona State got screwed. The refs were horrendous in this game towards the end. If you watch the replay, Arizona State was screwed at the end, Donnie.
Yeah, I saw the retweet out there. It was a deep ball. It looks like he caught, but was there a penalty or what did we miss on that play? Was it the last play of the game? Like, I didn't understand.
No, they said it wasn't a catch.
But why? Like, what was that? How much time was on the clock when he threw that?
There would have been about 5 seconds left after the catch.
Did they have any timeouts? Because the game was probably going to be over anyway.
I believe they did. It was people were mad at the call. The call on the field was overruled because they said he didn't catch the ball. Now,
did they think it hit the ground or did it not? Because from that angle, you were like 60 yards away. It looked like he caught it, but did he roll over and the ball hit the ground?
I guess on the replay, it looks like maybe he bobbled it or something, but yeah. I thought it was a catch. I mean, I think everyone thought it was a catch. And then there was a lot of questions because the announcers in the game were all over the place. Like, they were really bad. Like, Carter Blackburn got a lot of shit for it. He was really bad as well. It was just a weird game at the end. I thought, Arizona State didn't play well in the game, and they really shouldn't have been in that situation. They didn't have a first down for a large part of the second.
Like, by the way, Jeff, I'm surfing Twitter right now to try to find it. So I get like these views of like coaches tape. Is there does anybody have like a good view of the actual catch?
Yeah.
Scroll through and find. I think I might have found one that's a little bit better. I saw one from the front and the back. Now it looks like I'm getting one from the actual game tape itself, but it's still pretty far away. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have to watch a highlight.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put this on pause right here, and I'm going to watch that after the show and see what's what on that. Yeah, but that does look like an interesting one. From the view you showed, you retweeted, it looks like a catch because there's no other reason why you would think it's not a catch.
Yeah, I thought it was a catch for sure. Donnie, biggest underdog, I believe, was Northwestern. I believe they were the biggest underdog to lose outright. A big favorite to lose outright. They lose
that game. Yeah, to speak on that for a minute. We talked and we're just going over games. I'm saying, like, Akron's not going to be able to score too many points here.
I remember that.
And the game looked like it was going to be a boat race for Northwestern. And I blink and check the final score, and I almost fell out of my chair.
Friday night, I was talking to Donnie. I said, Northwestern should not be laying 21 points to anybody. They lose outright. Yeah, what a weird game that was. Also, team to keep your eye on, the Buffalo Bulls. Keep your eye on that team. They're a good football team, Donnie. Good quarterback. really good receivers. They have some
And running backs.
top-level receivers on that team. Good running backs, well coached. They have a kid named Khalil Lodge, a terrific linebacker. Kind of reminds you of Khalil Mack a little bit. They've had some real good linebackers at that school. He might be another one of them. Buffalo Bulls, good football team, Donnie. And you know who they get this week?
Rutgers.
Mighty Rutgers. That could be an interesting one. Buffalo's had trouble on the road over the years, but they've already beat Temple on the road. Let's see if they go to the East Coast and get another win against a Power 5 team, even though Buffalo might not be considered, to me, a Power 5 team. Donnie, let's wrap it up. Seahawks, Bears. Do you think the Bears learned from week one? What do you think? Banged up Seattle team here. You got a line in this one of Bears at 443 on the total. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, you're going back-to-back road games here, Jeff. You lost last week. Now you're going to head into Chicago for a team that, I mean, they let down in the second half. They should have won that game versus the Green Bay Packers. But we were talking about, 3.5 for most of the week. Wake up today. Now you're looking at 4.5. So the line's getting away from you. But look, what do you like about the Seattle Seahawks, right? Really good linebackers. Well, you get no Bobby Wagner in this one, no KJ Wright. You say, hey, Doug Baldwin's a playmaker. He's not in this football game. And you say, well, hey, Seattle, let's lean on your offensive line and get some support out there. Well, you're going against a man pass rush out there for the Chicago Bears. So to me, looking at this game, again, still week 2, so you're going to see some of these teams work through the deficiencies, but it's Chicago Bears are nothing for me tonight. What's to like about Seattle? You can't lean on the defense whatsoever tonight in this football game. You can't lean on Seattle's offensive line. So you're going to say, Russell Wilson, go out there against a nasty pass rush for 4 quarters out there. You're probably going to throw the ball 30 times and be under duress for 20 of them. Good luck and pick up this win on the road. Got to be the Chicago Bears for me tonight, Jeff.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you look at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm never interested in backing them on the road. A team devoid of a lot of talent. I mean, Russell Wilson's terrific, but I just don't really like this group other than that. I haven't looked into this game a whole lot, but
Jeff, no KJ Wright. Like they're the back. It used to be the Legion of Boom, right? Now you're down to just one guy back there. But you said, you know what? Their linebackers made crazy plays over the last 5 years for them, and they're both out of this football game. There's nothing to lean on here. Like you can't say, now if you just want to say, I'm a contrarian, oh my God, everybody loves the Bears, let's just go Seahawks. I mean, hey, look, there's people out there that do that. But when you can effectively put an objection out there and say, well, what do I like about both teams? Yes, look, Trubisky's young. I get it. They should have won on the road last week. They did. Maybe young head football coach, young quarterback. Oh my God, we're so stung. We shell-shocked. We can't get it together. But they're not going on the road this week to play a la like the Vikings, Jeff. You're going to get Seattle off a back-to-back road game who wasn't that impressive last week against a not-so-impressive Broncos team. And now you're down even more players heading in this one. Come on. I'm just going to read the tea leaves in this one, Jeff. It's got to be the Bears here.
Yeah, I think you've reading the tea leaves right,
yeah,
Donnie.
Read them.
I kind of agree with you here. I like this kid Trubisky. I like this defense for the Bears. Looked pretty good last week. I think they could be really talented. I have a feeling they're going to be ready for Russell Wilson. Kind of like where you're going here. Chicago Bears will play that as the right side of campus play of the day.
Yeah.
Donnie, we'll wrap it up today with a little college basketball news. I always want to talk college basketball, and I urge you to listen when I talk. FBI probe doesn't stop Arizona, though. Arizona, who many people thought wouldn't ever get a recruit again, they land the top point guard in the country next year. What a get for Sean Miller's crew. Now, keep in mind, I mean, Arizona, he doesn't play basketball far away. He plays in Phoenix. This is a kid, Donnie, that, had Villanova asking for him, a lot of other schools, but this is a big-time get for Miller. I mean, this is kid, he's a top point guard. He's got good size. He's one of the better defenders in this class. I think he goes really well with this program, and I think he is a good fit here. Sean Miller, Donnie, no matter what, I mean, he's got probes up his ass. He's got all sorts of things going on. Still hasn't, hit him. It still hasn't bothered him. He's still been able to pick up talent. UNA back on track here with a top recruit. Looking forward to basketball, Donnie. Already looking into basketball. Very excited for this season. I was watching some South Dakota State highlights last night. Already ready for the season. Nico Mannion, the Italian, Donnie, headed to Arizona.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You get started a little bit of college basketball this early, but Jeff, I hasten to say they're young kids and it's a long way to go. And we all know the bagmen on the AAU circuit will be able to weigh in late, and you'll have a program a la Louisville that says, oh my God, a top player just fell into my lap at the last minute. We didn't even recruit the guy. I have no idea why he's here, but I don't think anybody should look into it. So long way to go in these circumstances for these young kids, Jeff.
Magnan, Italian from Siena, Italy. Donnie, how about that? His
Okay.
father was a NBA player, but his mother, professional volleyball player in Italy. So get a little bit of Italians.
Good combo right there to have a good athlete for a kid.
Sure. Do you remember this guy, Donnie? Pace Magnan? I don't remember.
I don't. No, I know Sean Mannion. Any relation there?
Yeah, me too. I don't remember this guy though. He was a 1983 draft pick, played for the Warriors, a lot of different teams. I don't remember this guy. But all right, we'll wrap it up. Great stuff as always from the chat. Jeff, how was White Boy Rick? White Boy Rick was terrific. I urge you to go watch it. Eric, I told Donnie he should go check it out.
I will.
It won't get the love it should because it's an urban movie, and generally and unfortunately, whether you're an urban TV show or an urban movie, you don't get the love that other movies do. I thought the movie was terrific. I thought McConaughey was.
There's going to be a lot of older people, Jeff, hating on it just because it's called White Boy Rick. I'm not going to see that movie. So yeah,
you're 100% right. The Wire won no awards, Donnie. Remember that. The reason was it was a gritty crime drama in the hood. Nobody cared about supposedly.
Yeah.
But I thought the acting was very good. McConaughey, I'm not a big fan of generally, but thought he was great. The kid that played White Boy Rick, Donnie, never acted before. First acting job. Very good. Great movie. I would check it out. Everyone have a great day. As always, good stuff, Donnie. Thanks to SBR for letting us host the show. We'll be back Tuesday with another show. Have a great day. Bye-bye.